it's perfect. Now we can get to this Howie and Brad thing because Albert Breer put out 2 different tweets about Brad Holmes and Howie Roseman, kind of comparing their styles. And then I have a video of Howie Roseman's press conference, which was just music to my ears, Booner. It was just, and it's like he's got. Watching Howie Roseman, it is impressive. I mean, it's kind of what the Lions fans have been kind of asking for. He spoke directly about, so it's very relevant. So I'll show off Albert Breer's tweets, and then we'll play the video, and then we'll get into the conversation because essentially what this conversation is going to be about is what style works, not just works, but what do you prefer? You have Brad Holmes' style, which he's kind of shown, draft, develop, extend homegrown talent. And then you have Howie Roseman, which is draft and develop, but also be aggressive, make moves in free agency, go get a Saquon Barkley, or make trades like A.J. Brown, or make trades to try and get better, to try and win a Super Bowl. So there's kind of 2 different approaches to how you build a roster. And Albert Breer put this out about Brad Holmes' approach, Howie Roseman's approach. And Albert Breer said, the magic of what Eagles GM Howie Roseman does isn't trading a third for Jalen Phillips. Anyone could do that. It's about being strong enough in asset management to have 3 third-round picks stockpiled, so moving one of them isn't a big deal. That's what makes Philly different. Because they've had coordinators leave that are really good coordinators. They've had players leave like Josh Sweat, and they've gotten picks for them. So that's why the Eagles have been able to get picks. They haven't, they can't re-sign certain players, but they get third rounders. And they are able to trade one for Jalen Phillips, which, by the way, if he leaves, they get another pick back. So it's how it goes. And then you have the Brad Holmes approach, which is a little different. All right. And clearly it's been successful for the Lions up until this point. But Albert Breer put this out. He said, Detroit's build is a fantastic example of what you can do if you hit on draft picks. You have the ability to go to them early, fold existing years into extensions, and keep your team together. Easier said than done, but good on the Lions for being aggressive and paying their guys. So
these are like literally complete opposites.
No, they're it's pretty a little different.
The tweets, I think, are like 5 days apart.
Yeah, and I don't know. This is how I look. I mean, it's a little different. Like Howie Roseman they still extend guys they want to extend. Like, they extend like Jalen Hurts or the Devonta Smiths of the world. They'll keep guys they want to keep, but they also will go get an A.J. Brown and give him some money. They'll go get Saquon and give him some money. Like they'll be aggressive in different ways. And Howie, just hear Howie in this clip, please. Like just hear. Can we just listen to Howie speak and then we'll react to it. Howie Roseman spoke to the media today, and he talked about risk, being aggressive, why it's important, why he believes it's important. This is just his opinion. And you guys can tell me whether or not you think what he's saying is fair. So here's Howie Roseman discussing just his approach to what he does with the Eagles.
Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett, who you both you were reportedly interested in trading for each of those guys. Michael Parsons, of course, before the season began.
Are you trying to get me fined by speaking of players on other teams? Is that your goal here, Jimmy? Well, I can see that being your goal.
The players aside, it does seem like you are willing to, make a big swing and trade multiple future first-round picks. Whether it's for those players or anyone else. What makes you comfortable, trading away those kinds of draft assets?
I feel like when there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands. I don't think that you have great success without taking great risks at times. They got to make sense in terms of the risks that you're taking. And so, we can't be afraid to fail. I think for a lot of times, for you to get to the top, that you got to be willing to take chances that, may look controversial at times. And so, if there was an opportunity to do that, we thought gave us also an opportunity to be the last team standing, put confetti on our head, we're going to go aggressive in that direction. I feel like that's the right way to operate our team. And that doesn't come without mistakes. I understand that. But, I won't live with regret. I won't live with regret in the way that we operate around here. And so if we feel passionate about something, if we think the value's right, we're not going to be afraid to pull the trigger.
I don't even know what to say after that. That man was spitting. He was saying exactly, I think, what Lions fans are thinking.
I've interrupted the video to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper in the new promotion they have going on. A brand new promotion is now live on Sleeper that could be paired with the 100% deposit match promotion that's already been going on. It's a free $20, no deposit required, plus first-time users will also receive 100% deposit match up to $100. Use the code CT Sports. You guys should already be using Sleeper. It's one of the fastest organically growing fantasy platforms in the entire world with millions and millions of active users. They are crushing it. And if your state allows it, you should be using Sleeper Picks. It's a real money product that connects friends over picks. You just choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame live or across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats. And on Sleeper, you can get up to 1,000x payouts. Share with your friends. Get rewarded together. Don't forget, code CT Sports. Get a $100 deposit up to $100, and you got your free $20 entry. Sleeper is taking care of their customers. Always remember, gamble responsibly. Now let's get back to the video.
Can we say 2 things can be true? You could be aggressive like Howie Roseman, but you also could be great at drafting like Dan Campbell.
Or Brad Holmes.
Or Brad Holmes. No, like.
Or how about this? You
It's not that crazy.
By the way, Howie can draft too. Like you can do both. Yeah, like and by the way, like he's drafted one hell of a raw. I mean, he drafts a lot of good players. So Brad can do that. And guess what? Guess what Brad does? Brad can trade. He trades up a lot in the draft. Guess what Howie does? You see that video?
Trades.
The war room? He's
trading.
trading.
I know something Brad doesn't do that Howie does, though. Howie trades back constantly and trades up. Howie will leave a draft with more assets than he started the draft with and also still get the same amount of picks that he started with. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's
yeah.
Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe in the draft, that's something Brad, he's very, very good at drafting. He's good at trading up to get his guys. But asset management when it comes to adding more picks, like trading back, knowing, hey, my guy's going to still be there if I trade back. I'm able to get back, get an extra pick or 2. I can get my guys that I love, add a couple assets because those assets in the future, like the reason, again, like Albert Breer tweeted out, the reason that the Eagles were able to make all these moves at the trade deadline without being, handcuffed to, assets is they had 3 third-round picks in 1 year, and they could trade them, and they could still have their third-round pick. Where Brad, instead of Brad having extra assets at the deadline so he can go all in like Howie Roseman, what did Brad do? He traded up 3 or 2 third-round picks for a player that's not playing for him.
Let that just simmer for a
second. That's the difference between being great and good. And like Brad's top 5, top 6 of the NFL. Howie's number 1. There's a reason why he just won a Super Bowl, and he's been in multiple over the last 3 or 4 years.
And I want to make this very clear too. No one's saying Howie's perfect. He's actually made mistakes.
For sure.
He gave Carson Wentz a lot of money, and he had to get off of that because they drafted Jalen Hurts and he was the franchise. He drafted Jalen Reagor in the first round over Justin Jefferson and then had to correct and trade for A.J. Brown. But guess what Howie always says, man? Like, you have to – what did he say the quote was? Like, you have to take risks. You have to take risks. It's like owning a business. You have to take risks to sometimes get to the top. It's just part of it. Like, you can't just – like he said, we're not going to sit on our hands and do nothing. And I think that's the part of being a GM that I don't think Brad is fully comfortable with. Not that he has to be – like how we talked about, you don't want to be irresponsible and make stupid risks, but like Howie, he's not perfect. He's made mistakes, but guess what? He always bounces back from them. And I bet you Brad could do the same exact thing because Brad's a smart dude. Like Brad has made mistakes and guess what? He fixes them. That's what great GMs do, man. You look at some of the best GMs in the league. They all aren't perfect. They make mistakes. I think Brad sometimes is afraid of making a mistake. It's like, or he's afraid of taking a big risk in return, potentially making a mistake. It's okay. Like Howie went and got. Here's the thing that I want to make. This is the biggest difference between both GMs. Both GMs can draft. Both GMs can draft and develop. Obviously, I think Brad. I will give Brad credit. I think he's pretty good in free agency. I don't know if you would agree with that. He's done a pretty good job in free agency.
I think he's done a good job.
I think the missing part is what Howie has done, and I'm going to bring up Les Snead too. He's a good example of this. Both of them know when to go all in and when to be aggressive. The Eagles got A.J. Brown, and I know right now we're laughing at it, but A.J. helped them win a Super Bowl. A.J. helped them made another Super Bowl prior to that. So it worked out for them. They cost them a first-round pick, but he's been really good for Jalen Hurts, not as of late, but early in his career, he was really good for Jalen Hurts. He also went and got Saquon Barkley, paid a running back in free agency to come join the Eagles. He put them over the top. That was a massive move to go get Saquon Barkley, a big acquisition in free agency. Les Snead traded for Jalen Ramsey. Les Snead went and got Von Miller to pair with Aaron Donald. Les Snead went and traded 2 first-round picks to get Matthew Stafford. Some of these guys, you got to take risks. It's just part of it, and I think Brad, and I talked about this earlier, my theory, and I don't know if this is correct, it's just a theory. I think Brad is still relatively new as a GM. I know it's been a couple years, but it seems like Brad is kind of, I don't know if he's at the point where, Howie's been with the Eagles for a while. Les Snead's been with the Rams forever. Those two have been with the organizations forever. So they're at a point where they're kind of I ain't going nowhere unless it fails completely. I think Brad's still at this kind of stage where he's a little hesitant to make these type of moves because everything's going so well. He doesn't want to mess it up. But I think it comes down to just confidence in your ability as a GM that hey, if I make a move and it doesn't work, I would have Brad's back if he if he did something aggressive and we knew his intention was to try and go all in and win a Super Bowl and it didn't work. People are going to be pissed, but it's hey, you can't fault the man for trying. I think it's worse when you don't do anything and you don't win. Then it's dude, people get frustrated. But people I'm sure Eagles fans can look at some of Howie's moves and be yeah, Howie fucked up here, screwed up there. But at the end of the day, guess what? He's got them 3 Super Bowl appearances in the last 8 years, and he's won 2 of them. It's tough. So I think that's where Brad's got to take that next step. Just get comfortable, be a little more aggressive, have more confidence in himself that if he does make a mistake, he can fix it. Because I believe he could easily.
I think what you said is spot on, by the way. I think people, if he makes those moves, and he might be a little hesitant because he obviously long-term, but I do think with some of these moves, I think you have the luxury when you do have a team that's built already. And I think this might be where Brad more so maybe has to realize a little bit where he's scared to give up, let's say, a first or a second round pick because, he is good at picking, right? He's good in the draft. But you don't, at the end of the day, do you need those picks? No. Because essentially your roster is already filled out. Now, I want to ask this to the chat. I want to ask this to you, Jeff. Would you have been mad if Brad would have used, let's say, a 3rd round pick to go get, or future 3rd, or maybe a 4th or a 2nd? I don't know, whatever they have available outside of the 1st round to go get the guard, the Wiley guy out of the Commanders, right? Or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Andrew Wiley.
Andrew Wiley. So say he made that move, and then he also made a splash move like a Howie Roseman, Les Snead type of move. And he goes, I'm giving up my 1st round pick next year because I think it's going to be the 32nd pick and it's going to be we're going to win the Super Bowl. I'll give that up for Trey Hendrickson. And at the trade deadline, we're going to make the biggest splash in the NFL. We're going to get Trey Hendrickson and Andrew Wiley. And we're going to bolster up our defensive line for 1 year. And we're going to have Andrew Wiley for 1 year at the left guard position until Christian Mahogany's back. And now our offensive line's good to go going forward. And our defensive line's great. And I just showed this whole fan base that I'm all in on a Super Bowl this year. And we want to win. And I just did what Les Snead's done in the past. I just did what Howie Roseman's done. And I've done just all those examples that you've given, Jeff. I've done all those. If you go to the Super Bowl and you lose in the Super Bowl, I can almost guarantee you the fact that you went all in, I don't think there would be one Lions fan that was mad at Brad Holmes.
Nope.
I think every Lions fan and everyone who covers a team would look at Brad Holmes and give him a round of applause and be like, I actually appreciate the fact that we finally had someone in this city who was ready to kind of take a step forward and put their what on the table and show everyone that we want to win a Super Bowl and we're serious about it. Because then guess what? You lose those 2. Okay, you don't have a 1st round pick next year. Okay, you still have a 2nd. Go draft yourself a tackle in the 2nd round. Be Brad Holmes. Make a couple moves in the draft and go, find those guys you find in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. And then you start over next year. right? And you sign a couple guys in free agency and you start over next year. And guess what, Jeff? You're still a Super Bowl contender. Even though you gave up a first and a second or a third round pick for those guys. And you probably didn't re-sign them. But guess what? You went to a Super Bowl and you showed the whole city, I'm about winning a Super Bowl. And that, you know what we're doing next year? We're going to go win it. And we're gonna be right back in the same position because our core is signed. And if I'm being honest with you, as soon as I saw all these signings, all these long-term deals get done, you know what one of the first things that went through my mind was? Brad's ready to go all in, and he at the trade deadline and in the free agency and all, like he is going to start making those big time moves. Like that was why I think I said yesterday there was 100% chance of Brad Holmes making a move. Was because this guy has gone all in on your core team to where it's like he has not. You don't need all these draft picks anymore. You have your core. You've done your job. And yes, we want to keep building your core. And like, yes, you're going to have to let guys like DJ Reader go. And you're going to maybe have to let Anzos go and Taylor Deckers go. So you're going to need to use the draft to replace those guys.
They're here now.
But they are here today. And it's not like you're going to have 0 picks in next year's draft. You're going to still have opportunities. You can make trades to go out and get more draft picks if you want to. You can use future picks to move up. You have to make those moves. And it's like in my thought process, it's like, if not today, when are you going to do it? Because you literally just signed everyone to their long-term deals. You have 2 other guys or 3 other guys that you have to sign, essentially. Why not this year? This is the year to do it. Now, again, like I said, I still think they can do it, and I think they will. But if you went in out there and you made a bold move, and you made a move like the Colts did with Sauce Gardner, where the Colts basically just put their nuts on the table and said, we're trying to win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years. And you made a move like the Dallas Cowboys, who they've won 3 games. What did they do? They went and got Quinnen Williams. Like, some of these teams are out here just making moves, and I know like these teams are not as good, and they might not be good long term like the Lions. Again, Jalen Phillips to the Eagles. The Eagles are, hey, we're trying to win this thing back. We're trying to go back to back.
Yep.
We're trying to go back to back, and we're going to do everything for it. And what did they do last year at the trade deadline? Made moves. What did they do last year in free agency? Got Saquon. That's just, it seems like that's something Brad doesn't want to do. And I'm actually, Jeff, I think that was a great point by you. I do think that was a great point. That at what point, when is Brad going to do that? At what point? Because you have to.
Even the Rams getting like Roger McCreary, the corner from Titans, like it's one trade less need made. It's Roger McCreary. They need a corner. It signals to the fan base like, hey, we need a corner. We're trying to win. Let's get one.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. Let's make some moves. Let's try and improve. And to your point, like I get the replenish thing. Like I understand it, but guess what? Actually, it's not like you got Bob Quinn drafting. I mean, Brad can find talent anywhere. And of course you want him to have draft picks. I get that. But if you don't have a second round pick one year and let's say you have a third instead, or let's say a fourth, I still have full faith Brad's going to find some stud somewhere. He does it every single year, man. He can draft, which actually gives you an advantage if you were to trade away picks. Kind of like Howie Roseman, where, Howie can find guys in different rounds just like Brad can. So you should feel more comfortable. And you have guys right now under contract. Like, I don't want to hear about replacing Sam Laporta. You have Sam for 2 more years. You have Brad. You have Brian Branch for 2 more years. Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.